Hello, hello. Welcome to Thriving Thursday. This is where I give you a little tidbit that you can use and implement in your life right away. And I wanted to call out something that I learned a while ago, which is essentially how to interact and initiate conversations with people that you don't know, right? That's a scary, scary thing. And a lot of people don't want to talk to people they don't know. They're afraid to go to parties, or they won't go any place without a friend. Or we just eventually choose to sit at home, right? Because this is easier to sit at home than it is to learn how to initiate conversations or feel awkward or feel alone. We feel like failures, right? And so the first thing is your smile. And that's one thing that I've had going for me since I was a child. I will say it was always my smile that got recognized and was called out. And I appreciated that. And it was actually the reason I didn't get braces. I don't know that I necessarily need braces. I've made it over 50 years, but I went and took impressions, and the dentist said, just so you know, this might change your smile. And I was totally out at that moment. I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. And so it's that big, beautiful smile. So practice smiling. It actually takes a lot more muscles to smile than it does to frown. And so you need to practice, you need to work on it. The second thing, so number one, start with a smile. And people love to talk to smiling people, and we're drawn to smile, to somebody smiling to us. The second thing is draw out the similarities. We also like to be the same as others. Being the same and having something similar, or, I mean, and it can be a stretch, or even if you say, oh man, I love that color. That's my favorite color, pointing out their shoes or something like that. So it could be as small as that. It doesn't need to be as weird or awkward as exactly the same thing. A third thing that you can do is have a statement piece. And I utilize that. So I have not been wearing my necklaces lately, but if you notice, a lot of times I have a big necklace on. And that actually started from something that I don't even remember where I learned that, but it's a statement piece. So you have something highly noticeable that draws attention to you, that people can comment on. And that is probably the easiest thing that I have been able to implement, because it takes the pressure off of you, right? You don't need to decide who to talk to or who to approach or what to say. Somebody else will do that for you. And as long as you're prepared to engage after they initiate, it makes things so much easier. And then the fourth thing is what they call the insight and question method. And this is huge in the sense that it's a give and take. It's a back and forth in the relationship. And if you have ever learned anything of the study of human beings and human relationships, is that vulnerability piece. And in order for a relationship to happen, right, to grow and transform, and for it to become a mutually beneficial and enjoyable relationship, there has to be both. You have to go both ways. That means I need to be vulnerable with you, and then you need to reciprocate and be vulnerable with me. And so when you use the insight and question method, that's a really easy way to do that. So I'm going to share something. So I go to a party, like, oh, one of my favorite things to do is to play tennis on the weekend. Do you ever play tennis? Okay, I don't play tennis, but I couldn't think of anything else. So then they're like, no, I don't. Oh, what sport do you play? Do you play any sports? Something like that. I mean, it could be something deeper. So that's a surface level vulnerable sharing. I love to play tennis. What do you love to do? As relationships get further and further along, you want to increase, or I should say deepen those vulnerable conversations. So you share something more personal, more vulnerable, and you invite them to share something more personal and more vulnerable about them. And I have had one in particular, a couple other, relationships, but one in particular that really bothered me because it never was reciprocated. I would share, I would tell, I would say that person was really good at asking questions, and I would be vulnerable, and I didn't get anything in return. There wasn't a volunteer of information, and when I asked, it was kind of dodged, or it just wasn't reciprocated. And that was the point. It took me such a long time to figure out what was bothering me, and that was it. It was a one-sided relationship. I was vulnerable and that person was not. And that's not a relationship. And so I really kind of quit having that friendship. Not that I mean, or that person knows it, but it's just not it's not a mutually beneficial relationship, because no matter what, it's always going to be one-sided. If the other person is not interested in sharing vulnerably or sharing themselves with you, it's probably not worth your time. So I hope that helps. I hope you can use that and it impacts you and your relationships and makes them so much better. So I wish you all the best. Go live your life of abundance.